Welcome to the NerdSpice podcast, a show specially handcrafted to add some flavor to your pop culture consumption. I am your pineapple, chicken, onion, pizza loving it.
All right.
You can go somewhere else with that.
All right.
Can I not start the show
Pineapple
that way?
under the sea.
Is that a bad way to start the show?
That took me out. That took me by surprise.
I'm ready to go
As I
home.
said, I am your pineapple, chicken, onion, pizza, trifecta loving.
So it was rehearsed.
No.
It was rehearsed.
Yeah.
Did he say the same the second time?
It was rehearsed.
I'm Jamal.
I didn't even announce.
He didn't even say who he is.
Wait,
Who are
I
you?
didn't know if you were the pizza.
Other than this pizza man, like who the fuck?
I'm Saya. You can find me at SayaJ_Andre on Twitter.
Oh, I'm Jay, Jamal, whatever the fuck. And you can find me on Twitter at, what did I change it to? J Molly Mall. J_Molly Mall.
It's something.
I don't remember.
You're not getting any followers.
Dang. I know I'm not. I'm at 81. I gained 3 followers in the past 2 weeks. So
Did you?
I have.
That's great.
That's pretty good.
It is great, but they're all porn accounts.
Oh, wait.
That's great.
Is it?
I mean, it's better to have porn accounts than Russian hackers.
They're waiting for me to not follow them back so they can unfollow me.
Yeah.
That's all that is. But it's fine. Yeah. I don't care. You can find me at J_Molly Mall, or you can find me following the NerdSpice podcast at NerdSpicePod on Twitter. Sure. Yeah. Find me that way. Look for me that way. Oscar?
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Oscar. You can find me on Twitter at OPIMI1. And we're getting ready to start this very special episode. It's going to be more of a conversation about current trends in the movie industry. So this isn't going to be a review of any specific movie, and it's not going to be related to like a major news event. It's just a bit of a conversation.
They're cutting board episodes.
Yeah.
Or we call them cutting board episodes. And like Oscar was saying, that's just a time for us to get together and just discuss something that normally wouldn't be discussed, like news or movie reviews and things like that. It's just a nice little, maybe 30 minutes, some episodes maybe an hour, just depending. But yeah.
I don't know why y'all laugh.
But yeah, it's like a nice little time just to get together, sit around a little campfire and just talk about the things that
I wish it was
a campfire. We're about to chop this shit up. Let's get ready to go. So
that was our transition.
So yeah, today's episode we're going to talk about reboots, remakes, and sequels, something that is not unfamiliar to Hollywood and moviegoers.
Now.
I mean, but they've been doing it.
It's like high frequency now. I don't know if it's because I'm older and I'm realizing it more, or is it because it's actually high frequency?
Yeah, that's what we're going to address. Like, is it really, are they overdoing it, or is it just, like reasonable for them to be doing these remakes? Like, is it time enough for them to be taking these properties that aren't even like 2 decades old and already remaking them? Who knows? I don't think so.
I mean, we'll get to it, but before we even get to it, let's go back to school for a minute. All right, so in y'all words, how would you define a reboot, a remake, and I mean a sequel is pretty like self-explanatory. Mm-hmm. So how would you define like a reboot and a remake?
Well, I mean, I can't envision it now what I thought a reboot and a remake was back then, because I mean, if you just taking it by word value, it is what it is.
No, like right now, how would you define it? We're taking it back to school because we're schooling the audience.
Oh, I get it. That went way over my head. Damn.
See, I'm with you.
I thought he went, because that's why I made that face. I was like, why can't I go back to school?
No.
Nah, okay. I got you. We're on the same page.
We're setting the stage.
Let's take them back to school. That's great. A reboot and a remake, I mean, yeah, they are what they are. Like, you got the reboot. The reboot is like starting something over in like a new light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not taking, the same direction that the previous whatever they're making out of did made. But then you got the remake, which is
it's basically like a shot for shot recreation.
Or
like
close enough to it.
Yeah.
A lot of horror movies have a lot of remakes. Like Halloween had a remake in 2007. Vertigo had a remake. Like a lot of Alfred Hitchcock's have remakes.
I didn't even know that.
And these Disney movies, they are remakes. So like Beauty and the Beast, that's pretty much a pretty shot-for-shot remake of the original animated.
With a few things thrown in.
With a few things changed, but it's not, you wouldn't call it a reboot like you would call, say, Maleficent, where it's kind of like a reboot of the Sleeping Beauty, because it's like, you know, they're trying to start the story from another angle and they're trying to start it from a different direction.
Yeah.
So that's just something to keep in mind. Like a remake is you're sitting there and you're like, I've seen this before, but it looks nicer, it looks more polished. And a reboot is like, we might get a whole new side of the story. We might get a whole new perspective, even though it's kind of the same concept.
Now, do you think that there could be a mix of both, depending on the movie? Like there's a reboot, but it also remakes some things from a movie that comes before?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, like it'll take inspiration from the original.
Yeah.
And like some of the shots would be the same, but they're taking a new direction, like a new... Maleficent is kind of like that. Like it's a little bit of a remake of the Sleeping Beauty, and it's also a little bit of a reboot because you're getting a whole new stuff. You know, you're getting a whole new perspective of this villain we'd never really paid much attention to.
Now you say Maleficent. Now, where do you stand when it comes to like Maleficent? If you can give like a mini, like 1 minute movie review in terms of like this conversation itself.
Okay, so in the conversation about if they're overdoing reboots and remakes, I think if you go like toward the Maleficent route, I think it's good because it was a new perspective, a new story, something interesting, and a new way to look at the villain in a different light. But if you look at Beauty and the Beast, it just seemed like it was very formulaic, shot-for-shot remake of what they had. They introduced a few more details just to address a lot of the complaints that people had. So people were like complaining about things and inaccuracies and fallacies in the movie. And they addressed that. But overall, you don't end up with a different perspective overall of the characters because it's basically the same characters and they're doing the same things. Maleficent is a little bit more of a creative take on this. It was really interesting to see, and it's like, oh wow, I never really thought that this villain had a story beyond I'm an evil villain and I didn't get invited to your wedding and I'm gonna curse your ass. And
exactly.
That scream when she got her wings ripped off, that resonated with me on literally almost everything I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, and I think
your first like paycheck.
I think that plot point definitely added on to, you know, the point of Maleficent. Yeah. Like, because, you know, in Sleeping Beauty, the original movie, you're like, oh, she's like the evil witch and all that, and she just wants to ruin everybody's lives. But in that movie, you know, you get a new kind of story, and you kind of understand, and you like empathize with her and all that.
Yeah, it added depth to the mythos of the Sleeping Beauty universe, or, you know, whatever, the world. Like, you get more than just assuming that it's like straightforward like that. But I guess the reason we're focusing on a lot of Disney movies is because like
there's a crap ton of movies that Disney is like coming out with. And
but even not just Disney, just Hollywood in general.
Hollywood in
general. Star is Born, like like everywhere I look, there's a restart, or that's what I'm gonna call it. That's just gonna be the umbrella. That's gonna be the umbrella that I'm gonna put reboot and remake on. Just a restart. Just a restart. Yeah. That's all it is.
Like the Ghostbusters, like
they're pressing a restart. Okay, so Hollywood, I envision it as Hollywood having this big ass button, and it has and the big ass button has a money sign on it.
Yeah.
And when the money sign is getting low under the meter behind the button, they press it.
They're like,
and whatever is in the queue to come up next that hasn't been touched in a little while or nobody's been talking about in pop culture, we're gonna fucking redo it. Restart the revenue, restart the whole process again because. What's easier than making money on something that already succeeded?
But Oscar had brought up something interesting the other day when we were preparing for the episode about how, what was it? It was like the fact about like 30 years. So like every 30 years something new comes in.
So like a lot of the movies that are being restarted that aren't like say, or like that are kind of older properties that haven't aged out yet. So like Clueless is a movie that is about to be restarted or rebooted or remade or however. And Clueless came out around the 80s, and the
No, it was
reason
90s.
the 90s.
Yeah.
Girl, we are. Oh my. But anyway, so I was talking about how nostalgia works in a 30-year cycle. So currently we are nostalgic for the 80s with things like Stranger Things, with It. We have that 80s vibe going on in a lot of modern day movies that we just really want to reconnect. And even some of the Netflix like high school movies try to like capture
the
that
80s vibe.
Yeah, they try to capture the John Hughes movies 80s vibes, because after, like the children who grow up in the 80s are now around 30 years old, and they're in the industry making those movies. So now we're coming up to the 90s period where everybody who grew up in the 90s is coming around to be 30 years old. They're working in the industry and they're creating things that are based off their childhood. Jonah Hill has created a movie that is completely 90s nostalgia. I forgot what it's called, but
mid-90s.
Mid-90s?
Yeah.
That's what it's called? What the fuck?
Is it? It's called mid-90s.
So yeah, literally.
Yeah. It's like a movie about skaters.
Oh, I thought you were talking about this one.
No. He made like his own movie with. He used like a camcorder from the 90s because he wanted to capture the 90s feel. And that's how nostalgia works, is every 30 years. So like in the 80s, they were nostalgic for the 50s. And you would see a lot of movies that are based on the 50s and the idealized version of the 50s. Now we're looking at the 80s.
That makes sense because Back to the Future came out in 1985.
Yeah.
But it takes place primarily in 1955.
Exactly.
And I mean, because it works with the plot, but you kind of get that nostalgic feel of the 50s being in the 80s. Even now, like watching it now, Back to the Future is one of my favorite 80s franchises.
Yeah. It's going to be nostalgic for this time.
The kids who are growing up now.
Imagine watching...
What is our time? Because it sounds like to me we're just copying a bunch of stuff from the past time. So when they copy 2018, they're going to be copying the 80s.
Rebooting. They're going to be rebooting Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts reboot.
Exactly.
I can't even.
It's going to
be... That's another thing.
But like this generation, it'll be interesting this generation because they have so many ways to recapture that media. Like, we were nostalgic because it's like a memory that is lost and you can't really capture that again. But if you're growing up now, you have so many ways to reconnect to things from your childhood. Like you have Netflix, you have TV that you can rewind or whatever. You have HBO. People in the 80s and 90s and even like early 2010s, we couldn't go back to watch things that made us nostalgic for our childhood.
Exactly.
Because they were hard to access. But like, this is going to be interesting. It'll be funny if they reboot a movie however many years down the line and the camera quality is going to be like the same because we're kind of reaching a plateau,
I mean, even with the access that we have to all of these medias and all these ways to like revive our old content, all these reboots are taken away from the original things that made these things great. And sometimes the reboots or remakes aren't even as good as the original, in my opinion.
That's true. But then there are some movies that kind of build off of what came before and still add its own flair to it. For example, I think a movie like Blade Runner 2049, it definitely hits on all of the things that made the first movie as eccentric, but also unique, about it. And so I feel like a movie like that where it builds off of what came before, but also adding this new flair to it.
Yeah.
I think that's something that, something that people can build off of to make it successful.
Yeah. 2049 and I think like The Force Awakens are kind of movies where they hit around the same beats as the originals.
Definitely Force Awakens.
Definitely Force Awakens. I mean, Force Awakens could be considered like basically a reboot of A New Hope, but they hit on a lot of the same themes because they want to capture that same emotion. And like when I was watching, I didn't watch the original Blade Runner, but I did read the book, and like Blade Runner 2049 was basically reading off like the book. So it's kind of like a soft reboot / sequel that still touches on a lot of the things that made people fall in love with the original. And it also closes off those gaping plot holes that are like, not plot holes, but like storylines that probably weren't finished off by the end of the first movie.
Well, wasn't that a sequel?
It was a sequel.
It was a sequel, but it also operates as like a reboot.
Yeah.
What was the point of calling it a sequel then?
Because
I think it should be a sequel.
It's a continuation, but it's
I can see what you're saying, but I wouldn't link them so hard as to call it also a reboot.
They're not also considered reboots.
They're not considered
reboots.
I
know they're not considered reboots. Y'all calling it a reboot. That's why I said that.
No, I say a reboot is like...
I wouldn't. I just call it a sequel in the same
reboot.
universe.
I would call it a reboot because number one, Blade Runner, the original one, came out in '82, I think.
Because it did. I mean, it could be a reboot for the whole series, I guess, in a sense, but it's still in essence a sequel. I don't want to get the words mixed up because we can honestly put almost anything in the reboot remake, under the umbrella in some form or fashion.
Okay, but I'm saying
you have a point. Like we shouldn't lump them like that.
Because all of them, then we're just going to be putting all of them in the same category at the end of the day. Yeah. So I just rather them just be what they are and they're right. I can see why you say it's a reboot that is resparking interest in people in the series, but it's not technically a reboot. It's a sequel.
I consider Blade Runner 2049 kind of like a reboot in a sense that it's been like 30 something years since like the last movie, and even though it's a sequel,
time isn't enough.
But what I'm saying, like
those 30 years is the nostalgia period.
Even though it's a sequel, Blade Runner 2049 came out to a generation that probably didn't even know anything about Blade Runner. So
it's a respark of interest. I wouldn't call it a reboot. It's.
I think it's a restart, as in like we're continuing the story. But we're kind of like
I know it forces people to go.
I know it forces people.
I know it forces people to go back and look up the original. But in terms of a reboot, they're not starting over anything.
Yeah.
They're not. They're still continuing from old content, and it might. Yeah, this might be one of those cases. It's a weird case because usually they might have just done another version of the one that came out before, but it's not. It's a sequel. Just because these young people didn't know what Blade Runner was doesn't make it a reboot. I don't think. I just think it should just be called a sequel.
It's a sequel.
I just don't want to get the terms just thrown around loosely.
Yeah,
We're just being really loose with the terms. I think we should be a little more strict with them.
So how would you define that? I don't.
It's a fucking sequel. That's it.
Yeah, it is a sequel.
That's it.
It's like how The Force Awakens is a sequel, but it does hit on the same beats as A New Hope. Like the Blade Runner is a sequel, but it does hit on the same beats. But anyway, Disney is the main perpetrator we're looking at today because.
They have been a lot, and I actually put down a whole list.
They need money. They acquire all these damn companies. They ran out of money.
Let's read off some of the
from this list. We put together a whole list of all these Disney movies. So if we're technically starting with Maleficent, that came out in 2014. They went on. They did Cinderella, and then they did The Jungle Book. They did Alice Through the Looking Glass, which is kind of a different situation because that already had movies before it. But they had that, so. It's based off Alice in Wonderland pretty much. Beauty and the Beast and Christopher Robin, and Christopher Robin came out last August, like this past August.
Yeah.
So now moving forward, they're gonna have Dumbo, Aladdin, The Lion King, Lady and the Tramp, which I guess.
Don't do that to Lady and the Tramp. That is my movie.
It's a good movie, but it's like, do we need?
No, we don't need any of these that you're listing off. To be honest,
like the original stories were cute, but like finish off.
Mulan, Maleficent 2.
They aren't old enough.
Lilo and Stitch, and they also thought about a Tinkerbell movie, Cruella de Vil, Jungle Book 2, Little Mermaid, Peter Pan, Pinocchio, and Sword in the Stone.
Oh no, Pinocchio's been confirmed, right? With
that's Guillermo. And that's
Guillermo del Toro. It's not a Disney property. No. Oh, okay.
We know Hans Zimmer is scoring that.
Okay, I think let him.
No, wait. I think we're getting it mixed up. I think Hans Zimmer is actually scoring the SpongeBob movie. There's another SpongeBob movie coming out.
Don't ill SpongeBob movies. I'm gonna be in there. But anyway.
So what do you guys think of this list?
No,
Mulan is coming out in 2020. And the original came out in 1998, so that's around the same.
That's about the
30-year cycle.
It's like 20-ish.
Yeah,
it's close.
They're getting real. They're getting real close.
I mean, it's a system that works.
Not
honestly,
even that old.
It's for money. Everything. We have a question for anything. It's for money.
It's for money. I mean, that's what we know.
When you acquire in the world,
and we're just more money. Tired about that. We're tired.
I'm tired about it.
Let's try to be optimistic.
Okay.
No.
Yes.
Okay, so Josiah, you're on the optimistic.
No. I'm saying because even though these are a lot of adaptations that they're coming out with, and I feel like it is excessive.
Mind you, this is just Disney.
Yeah,
Hollywood does this out the booty.
Universal Studios doing some weird shit. We have.
They're going to do a live adaptation of Shrek. I'm waiting for it.
Oh my god!
They're going to do a reboot of Shrek.
They're already doing live adaptations of animes too.
Oh,
but I was saying anime is different.
That's an adaptation, not a.
What I was saying was, even though Disney has a lot of adaptations coming out, and we don't really need all of these, I pretty much grew up on Disney, so I kind of have a soft spot for all of these stories. So it's like I'll see it.
That's what
Not
they
because
want.
I'm like, that's what I'm saying.
You're their victim.
They got me.
Yeah.
They got me. I'm a whole
They got
victim.
your ass.
I'm a whole victim.
I say why to every commercial I see of a reboot.
Like,
I'm like, why?
Why do we need this?
I want new content.
Exactly.
I want content so they can want to make reboots.
Yeah.
Not just gonna have 3 fucking reboots every 30 years in a row. This Aladdin adaptation gonna have another adaptation of the Aladdin adaptation.
You don't know that.
How do I not know that? I can make a prediction.
In 20 years, there's gonna be another Aladdin.
Look at Alice.
So in 20,
Alice got what? How many movies?
Oh, they flopped. They had 2 movies, I think.
Rather than not they flopped, they probably still sold well,
Alice,
and there's still a lot of them.
Because they started that aesthetic.
My voice cracked.
I wanted to be optimistic and say, well, maybe they want to bring these stories back for a younger generation that probably knows nothing about the 90s movies, but they want to do it in a new way where it's like, you don't have to do it in animation. You can do it live action because we have the money, we have the ability to make these movies the way they're coming out. And new kids might fall in love with it. Like, there's I promise you. I think there's at least one kid that fell in love with the Jungle Book because of the live action movie. Not the animated ones.
But some of the things that they're doing with this is they are also addressing some of the problematic bits of their previous movies. So they're kind of wiping their hands from whatever might have happened. So a lot of people had issues with Beauty and the Beast, with Belle not being, a strong, independent woman. So they tried to push that in this latest adaptation. They're trying to be more culturally sensitive in movies like Aladdin and Mulan. So maybe they are trying to, readapt it in a way that's less problematic for our standards.
What's your question?
Would you guys be more offended if they re-released the exact same movie? For these new adult crepes, like they would re-release Aladdin, but show it in theaters.
Like, I would love that.
Why would you be offended? Because it's the original thing.
But they're still making money off. My biggest thing about all this reboot is that they're making money off content that they already made. Now, what's good about it is it's different. They're different from making it in a different medium. Most of these are going to be live action.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. It's like it's a new medium for a new generation. It's like for movies that we probably get new things that 80s people probably got when they were younger, but it's like a new iteration of it.
Would y'all rather the originals be re-released into movie theaters, or do y'all prefer these new adaptations?
I prefer they just not do anything at all and come up with new stuff.
Yeah, honestly, like Dumbo was cute and it's a classic.
But then we don't address the problem of them wanting to show their work to kids, younger kids.
But they can make new work and just keep building off of it, and kids can be like, oh, this is we're not looking at Mickey Mouse cartoon. Like, our generation, we're not watching Mickey Mouse cartoons, and they're not. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure they're still making Mickey Mouse cartoons that are based off of old episodes that we've just never seen, and maybe they're doing that. And
I do prefer new content though. I prefer just all of them. It shows a lack of creativity. And it happens in music. It happens in the gaming industry. It happens in the gaming industry. Call of Duty. And NBA. All the sports games.
Assassin's Creed.
I'm not even. That's a whole nother. Anyway, it happens too often for me to be I'm just gonna not look at it. In almost every aspect of the entertainment industry, they're making money off content that's already done, which is because it's less work.
And what about
you need to work? No, they need to work.
But the
you
problem
sitting here
now,
asking me for more in these theaters, $14 for a movie ticket.
But the problem, the real issue that I had with it is that it's not just every once in a while. Disney is banking on these movies.
They're pushing.
They are pushing them, and they were focusing on them instead of coming out with creative, original things Treasure Planet or something.
Making anything. You're talking about you're this prestigious animation studio or this prestigious entertainment studio with your damn Orlando studios and shit. Where is it? Yeah, because you're just rebooting shit now, and I don't see any new content coming. Last time Disney did something new.
When they did Atlantis, when they did Treasure Planet, that shit was creative.
Atlantis,
that shit was
what's their newest thing?
Let me tell you something.
What have they done?
Well, let's look at the recent Disney movies. You keep talking. I'm going to look at them.
Everybody loves 90s Disney movies, and that's great. That's fine. Those movies are great. I feel that early 2000s to mid 2000s Disney is underrated, and it's slept on. We got Atlantis, we got Treasure Planet, We got Lilo and Stitch, which, I mean, people love it.
Ain't nobody sleep on Lilo and Stitch.
We got Emperor's New Groove. There are people that don't like that movie.
Okay, they're trash. What's next?
Emperor's New Groove is not trash.
No, I said the people who think Emperor's New Groove is trash are trash. I'm sorry if you're listening. I don't think you're trash. Actually, you're a beautiful human being.
And we got Brother Bear.
Keep leasing it.
And I even said
Brother Bear.
Yeah, Brother Bear.
I forgot about that.
Y'all can have that one.
I even said if Disney's doing all these live action movies, the problem is they're doing movies that I don't know if people will really be interested in seeing.
Was it good?
Inside Out? It was good. It was amazing.
Yeah, Inside Out was really good.
I didn't even see it.
So, like, I'm looking at these movies that Disney released, and I think things that aren't sequels and that aren't part of the Marvel universe. So we have Inside Out, we have Tomorrowland, which flopped hard.
Jesus.
The Good Dinosaur, which also flopped hard.
The Good Dinosaur was trash.
Yeah.
Oh, Zootopia was a gem.
See,
that was a gem.
I love Zootopia. They should just keep promoting, you know, these new ideas.
Good content.
They had the Jungle Book, okay, Alice Through the Looking Glass, Captain America, Finding Dory, sequel.
Did y'all see the BFG?
The BFG.
No.
The big fucking giant?
The big friendly.
I heard it did bad. Oh, it's friendly?
Yeah, of course they would put Peach Dragon. Okay.
I didn't watch a lot of these. I'm looking at this list.
They were Ghost in the Did they do Ghost in the Shell? No, that's DreamWorks production. DreamWorks. Why is that under Disney's movie? Okay, this list is wrong, but like the thing is, they're burying all these movies with Star Wars, Guardians of the Galaxy,
Toy Story. That's
Beauty
a big seller
and the Beast.
for them.
They got all of these Star Wars and Marvel movies that they are trying to just bury everything else under.
Moana was good, but none of the songs were memorable. I don't know if that's just me.
And like some people are saying, Moana was just like a remake of it.
Remake of what?
What was it? It was just like another Pocahontas, but like less problematic.
What is that? Oh. Anyway,
because it was kind of like she is going on her own journey to save her people, and it's a take on natives.
There was no white man in Moana.
But that's why people are saying it's a remake of it, that's less problematic, because we know Pocahontas was not like
the exact thing.
It was not a good movie in terms of
Daddy, you don't kill my white boyfriend. They're trying to take our land, but
like we all
please stop.
We're at the age where we can acknowledge Pocahontas it shouldn't have been made. Like they did not do it very well, and the way they addressed
the animation though.
Yeah,
the animation is always going to be crisp.
The animation is always going to be nice, but yeah, Disney is just burying us in this reboots and sequels and remakes, and now they got Star Wars and Fox and Marvel, so
they got too much to take care of. They don't got time to animate anymore.
They got all these properties.
We're a domination company now.
Yeah, Disney's taking over. Literally, they have so many properties. Like, if you think about it, it's like 5 out of every 10 movies that are going to be a hit in 1 year is going to be a Disney movie. Either that's Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, or like a Disney animated, like Disney, not even animated, Disney reboot, or their Disney digital studios like Zootopia or Moana. So they're taking over the industry, and they are the tastemakers, which is why this is so concerning. And now they have conversations about rebooting Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, God.
Which is a whole other issue. They should have stopped Pirates of the Caribbean after like the 3rd movie.
Didn't they say they wanted to get an actor to essentially do what Johnny Depp did?
But like Johnny Depp became a parody of himself toward like the end of the series. Like,
but I'm saying like they're not even approaching the idea from the sense that let's tell an original story.
Yeah.
They're literally saying, hey, let's do what Johnny Depp did, but because he's getting older, let's find a younger person to do it.
Someone younger, someone cooler, probably like the kids are going to know them better.
Not even surprised at this point.
I mean, I'm not either, but it's like...
It's just like, why? Just create new shit. I mean,
And like another thing I don't think we're considering is also international markets. So like a lot of the original 90s animated movies, they weren't able to be released in countries like China because they didn't want to endorse the like Western ideals of princesses and castles, and it's very westernized, you know?
Yeah.
So a lot of those movies weren't released, and it's actually like they have Shanghai Disneyland, and a lot of people don't know who these princesses are. They don't know who Sleeping Beauty is, and they don't know who like Cinderella is. So they're remaking these movies to push it into the international market now that they're able to do that.
Now, is that a bad thing though in that situation?
It's not a bad thing in that situation, but like it is stagnating creativity over here. Like we're trying to, we want to make new movies, but they're also just trying.
They want to make movies as well for the international market.
Well, everything. Well, not everything.
Are they trying to make everything for the international market? I hope that's not a factor in the movies that they're making.
A lot of it factors into it because that's why you see a lot of movies. They have like Asian actors, and they get the release rights or not rights.
I don't think that would hinder too much on their creativity in terms of because Disney's not going to do anything off the walls anyway. But I mean, as far as values or customs,
would be surprised.
Yeah. But as far as like values or customs go, I mean
no, it's not even like, it's not even values or customs. It's just
even with
back then it was harder to get those movies.
Even with Pacific Rim 2, like that movie was pretty much shot in like, throughout China or some other country because they wanted to get in that market. That's the only reason why they were able to get inside that market because a lot of their actors were from that area.
And like if you shoot the movie locally in China, then you can automatically kind of get through their they have a certain amount of movies that they allow into the market, and those movies, if you have an actor from the area, if you have a product placement, or if you work with a company, like a Chinese company, so like in Transformers, they have a lot of products in there that we might not recognize as Westerners, but a lot of Chinese audiences are going to recognize, and that's product placement right there.
And I don't know the exact number, but it's not like every movie gets allowed in China. Yeah, like it's a major deal if you were able to get your movie in China. That's why they're re-releasing Deadpool, a PG-13 version of Deadpool, in December, so they can get the Chinese market.
And they're the biggest market of movies in the world.
Yeah.
It's not the United States anymore.
Yeah. So that's why. So I feel like in that sense, then it's fine for Disney if they want to get the Chinese market. They are a business after all. They have to make their money. And the more money they're able to get, the happier they are, I guess. But let's not focus on Disney too much. I know we had hit Clueless. Now, this was funny. So, from the article, it said Tracy Oliver, who co-wrote the well-received comedy Girls Trip last year, confirmed on Twitter that she is excited to be producing a new take on one of her favorite movies of all time. So, that touches on what you were talking about, Oscar, with how when you're growing up, when you love a movie so much and then you get into the film industry, you're like, hey, this is something I want to do because this is what I fell in love with and this is what I think kids of this new generation will like. But another funny thing happened, apparently when she released the news on Twitter, somebody responded and said, why? Can't you make anything original? And she said, like Girls Trip. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't anything major behind that, but it actually got me thinking. It's like, is there original content that's just not being supported as much? Like, are people just stuck in this mindset where if you see that it's a reboot or a remake, or just a sequel of another franchise, do you think people will lean more towards that because they're familiar with it over actually seeing something that's probably original?
Why did she say like Girls Trip? People like that movie.
That's what she's saying.
That's what she's saying, like Girls Trip. Like she's done something original before. Just because she wants to do Clueless doesn't mean that she doesn't want to do anything original.
Yeah. Oh, it says Oliver hit back. I thought.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, do you think people lean more towards reboots and remakes? Or is it just because they don't want to venture out into something that they're not familiar with?
See, that might be like the issues because there are so many movies coming out that are reboots and remakes and like big Disney properties. You're going to see the name everywhere. Their marketing team is going to be on point, and then you're going to see like a movie like, say, A Quiet Place or Girls Trip. You're going to see that poster every once in a while, and you're going to think, do I want to take a chance on this movie, spend my $14, $15 on a movie ticket for something I've never heard of, or look at this hot new take on a property that I'm already familiar with and not take that risk.
And it's like, not to take a dig on like the Marvel movies, but people generally like the Marvel movies because they have like the history with them. Yeah. And so they generally know, I'm going to enjoy this movie. Like, I don't really have to know too much about it.
It's a safe bet.
It's a safe bet. And so maybe there are just people who feel like these movies are a safe bet. For me, for example, Aladdin's coming out. Did Aladdin have to be made? No, but I like Aladdin, the original movie. For me, that's probably like a safe bet. Maybe I want to give it a shot, see what they do with it. We do have updated graphics and all that. So
fuck forcing it on them, to be honest. Force it on them. So what?
I don't care. Movies on them?
Yes, I don't care if that's what they had to deal with before they started doing this remake craze. You had to deal with original content. You liked it, and you liked it. If you didn't, you didn't. Just giving them the option just to be able to, are you more comfortable with reboots? We're going to keep doing reboots. No, I just value original content so much. I value, people thinking and using different, art styles or, shit like Black Swan. That was good when it came out. That was just different. And everybody was so into it. Everybody was more into it than I thought.
Everybody was raving about that.
Can you imagine seeing a Black Swan reboot or remake?
I don't want to.
That's coming out in 2 years. Let's go.
I don't want it.
They probably cast someone.
Just leave its original artwork. Like something great like that. You wanted to stay its original artwork, and it has not been long enough for a Black Swan reboot.
But I think
a Quiet Place, that was an original ass movie. Yeah, that was great, and it was surprising.
Yeah, original movies will flop sometimes. Like that. What's that one? It Comes at Night. Ugh. It comes out of the theaters, but no, some original movies will flop, but that's the risk you take as an artist.
Yeah,
that's the risk you take. Some of your crap is gonna fall. You don't have to keep. I know it's a safe bet. I know you're a company, and I know you guys are acquiring a lot. I don't know if that's the source behind all your rebooting and stuff like that. Because even though you are rebooting, you're still spending money to make this. Movie.
Yeah.
You are still spending money to make the movie, but it's just not as much effort because, as far as the content's already made. You already know the direction of the characters. You already know what type of direction you want to go into character development. There's not that much into the actual production. But actually creating it, or like the animations and, getting the actors and stuff like that, that's cool, but I don't know. I
guess I understand it too because there are movies coming out like, for example, First Man recently came out. I haven't seen it yet. I want to see it. There was also that Serenity movie with Matthew McConaughey and
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, that I wanted to see as well.
Yeah,
I really want to see it, but it's maybe it's
I don't hear anything about it.
You don't hear anything about it. You forget about it.
I've been thinking about
movie?
Serenity and First Man. First Man is the movie about Neil Armstrong going to the moon.
I don't want to watch that.
I was not excited.
I just wanted to see it because I'm a spacehead. Okay, don't.
Did you even see The Martian?
Gravity? Yeah, I saw The Martian.
Did you see Sandra Bullock floating through space?
No.
Gravity? Okay, so you're not a spacehead. Okay.
Okay. First Man, I wasn't too psyched about. It'll come on TBS next week or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel bad because there are movies that I want to see. And if I just never get around to seeing it, it's I'll wait for Google Play to get it so I can rent it.
Yeah.
But then it's movies like Aquaman, for example. It's of course I'm going to see Aquaman.
Yeah.
Because it's something different.
That's what we're into. If you're into dramatic lifetime type shit, of course you're gonna go.
So you're
gonna be more aware of it. Oh my god! That's what you're. But we're into comic books and nerdy shit.
That's what I'm saying with the reboots, remakes, and all that. Maybe somebody just wants to see Dumbo and Aladdin and all these Disney movies because that's what they're into, or maybe it's just a safe bet for them. Maybe they don't want to see
trash. Don't even give them the option.
Why not? You're a whole movie going.
Okay, if you cut that list in half, I would be completely fine with it. That is too much.
Yeah. They are already doing too much.
This is in the span of...
And there are...
And we're not even talking about the ones they've already done.
And movies like Lady and the Tramp did not need a reboot. What do you need Lady and the Tramp reboot for?
You don't. Nobody's talking about it. It was good for my little...
You get the little meatball and spaghetti, reference. And if kids don't get that reference, you show them the animated.
Lady and the Tramp? Talking about Lady and the Tramp and that Fox and the Hound? Y'all don't even know what that is.
Lilo and Stitch? They're really thinking about rebooting Lilo and Stitch.
That's what? Are they doing a live adaptation?
Is it going to be... Oh, that would be so weird.
You said
Can
what?
you imagine CGI Stitch?
It's what? It's live?
It's a mix between live and CG.
Well, yeah, because Stitch has to be
Stop
CG.
it now, Disney. You are canceled. No. I do not want to see a CG Stitch. Half that fucking cast gonna be fucking CG.
I know all these aliens.
I have a proposal for you guys.
Plinky or whatever.
We're talking about Lady and the Tramp, and I think that Tessa Thompson is in Lady and the Tramp. So this is kind of like a segue. They recently wrapped filming on the Men in Black reboot.
There was a reboot for Men in Black. I didn't even watch Men in Black 3.
They have Tessa Thompson.
Why?
And Chris Hemsworth.
Okay.
Would you
Wait
not
a minute.
see it?
No. I don't care about Men in Black anymore.
I'm tired.
It is way too early.
Who cares about it?
That came out when I was little. No.
Just because you put in fresh faces like Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you're
that's
reaching
straight
a new
to
audience. You're reaching a new audience, and you're using.
But like,
reach a new audience with a new movie. How about that?
Wouldn't it be cooler to
Why you
start
keep mentioning
a whole new like series that is kind of like Men in Black, but isn't a reboot and isn't like directly connected to Men in Black?
Space Team or some shit
that would
like
be
that.
really cool. Like, we got our original things with Men in Black, Lilo and Stitch, and whatever else. I want this generation to get their new things like that. And
the only one making original content right now is HBO. That's the only person I trust with new content.
Well,
when they come out with new stuff, it's new. They don't do no reboots of their shows.
They got Sharp
They might got
Objects.
another series coming out. Do they even have a show with more than 20 seasons?
I don't think so.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Wait.
Oh, no,
Isn't
that's a
one
really
of
bad
those
example.
Prison Break shows? Like,
No,
not Prison Break, but
seasons?
not Prison Break, but it was a prison show. It wasn't
Oz?
called
Breaking Bad?
No. Wait, Oz. Yeah.
They didn't have 20 seasons.
How many seasons did it have?
I don't know.
Yeah,
It
but like
20.
Okay, well,
It was a lie.
It was a lot, yeah. And now they're doing Watchmen, and now Amazon's doing Lord of the Rings, and now Netflix is doing
Avatar: The Last
Airbender.
Like that. Like, I got flack for telling people no when they told me Avatar: The Last Airbender was getting a reboot.
Like, oh, yeah, I was
initially I said no. Keep it. I don't want it. Nobody asked for it.
It was good as it is.
We asked for.
We have it, and that's
when y'all gave us Korra, when y'all was before we even got into Avatar sequel land. All right, I think we got that travesty that we don't talk about from M. Night Shyamalan. But before we even started talking about sequels, everybody wanted to see Aang and his peeps grown up. We wanted to see them in adults. I didn't want to see Korra. I didn't want the new books to be on Korra. I wanted the new books to be on Grown Up Aang and Friends. That's what I wanted. And I think a lot of people resonated with that because we wanted to see what the fuck happened next. But then, no. You give us Korra and then these pissy little flashbacks of them when they were older. And, they were cool and all. And honestly, I live for those flashbacks because that's what I really wanted to see at my core. Like when Aang came up and canceled... who was he? Tarlok?
I forgot Korra. I
went
that out of my.
It was his father.
It was somebody. Anyway, Aang canceled somebody, and it was amazing. You got Korra over here spamming the Avatar state like it's some damn
Avatar state,
like,
yip, yip.
like it's a bag of chips. Like when Aang went to Avatar state, you knew. I'm not gonna
tough.
get out. Aang when his eyes glowed, you knew it was going down. Like,
you knew it was game over.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like. With Korra was cool, but like, what was I getting to?
The live adaptation.
Yeah.
Is that we didn't want new stories.
We didn't want it. We wanted either new stories or new content. You gave us Korra, so thank you.
Yeah.
But if you're not giving us like new medium in the same like thing, I mean, I don't need a live action Aang. You should have gave that. Well, they did give it to us. I don't need a live action.
We don't need a live action.
That's it. I don't need it.
So then that brings me to my next topic. And I think this is probably one of the last topics we're probably going to touch on in terms of like reboots, remakes. So now sequels, how much is too much? Because you're talking
sequels.
Right now, it's too much.
You're talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender, and you're saying
okay. I see where you're going. Before
Korra came out, so let me get there. Before Korra came out, everybody was like, "Man, we could get like an older generation." So it's almost like the Naruto Shippuden of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No,
yes, you're getting. So you were saying you wanted to show.
No. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, we did.
You should have just let me get to you when I said I know where you're getting.
Sir,
now that you're here, now that you're where we were at, that you're here, here's what I was going to say. My irritation for having a live adaptation Avatar is just a product of how irritated I am about reboots.
Yeah,
in general. If that list was cut in half, if that list was a quarter of the length that it is, I wouldn't have cared about the Avatar coming out. Because if you're shoving reboots down my throat, not just Disney, Hollywood in general, I'm tired of reboots, period. So if reboots come into anything, they're coming into games now. Crash Bandicoot remake, I was mad at that. Fucking Tomb Raider remake, I'm mad at those. Spyro's coming next, I'm mad at that.
But it's sitting there.
It is sitting there, yes. It is sitting there because they got me. Okay, games are my weakness. All right,
that's what I was saying about Disney. It's like I grew up on these movies.
That's so fine. That doesn't mean I can't be tired of it too.
Yeah,
I'm sick. I'm tired of these fucking reboots. Make a new game. Like, where are all the people that were making these games? They're either old as hell or they're dead. I mean, I'm being honest.
And Nintendo been baking on Mario for the past forever.
They still are.
And what about it?
It's tired. It's tired.
We still gonna get it.
That was one of my main things about like stepping into the game world. That was one of my main things about Nintendo. They never made new shit. They
Mario,
always
Sonic, Smash
Mario
Bros.
Kart,
Pokemon,
Smash Brothers, Pokemon, and Mario Party shit. Anything with Mario and tennis and Sonic.
Keep that shit in there.
Yeah. Those are always gonna sell, and I get it because honestly, what I will say. When I play those games that I'm ranting on those Mario games, they be fun. They be fun as fuck too. It's just good quality game maker. They be fun as hell. But damn, can we get a Atario? A black? I don't know. A Taquana O. Yeah, Taquana O. She's not a plumber, but she's a realtor.
So in terms of games, I don't want to touch on it too much. But isn't Infamous like its own thing? Or was it?
Yeah, and then they did Infamous 2.
And then they did Infamous and Infamous 2 and
the
Infamous Second Son.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
So, I mean, that's fine.
And First Light.
But like in terms of sequels, like I want to go back to talking about sequels and stuff. So what I wanted from the Avatar live action series that Netflix announced, I didn't want Avatar Aang again. I wanted something new, and I wanted Avatar Kyoshi. They said that they're coming out with a new novel about Avatar Kyoshi and how she might be bisexual because they said that she loved men and women equally. I'd like that, but in terms of like sequels, yeah, sometimes it gets exhausting. When they said, I'm a big Harry Potter nerd, but when they said that Fantastic Beasts already has 5 movies planned.
And what about it?
I was tired. I was so fucking exhausted.
I'm here for it.
I'm here for it as well, but I'm tired. I'm still my ass is still gonna sit there with my little Harry Potter wand, and I'm still gonna say Avada Kedavra or whatever the fuck. But they planned 5 movies off of something she like.
The only reason I'm here for it is because we're already not getting that much Harry Potter content. It could have been cut off. It could have been ended after 8 movies, and then we got the Cursed Child.
Interjecting. And J.K. Rowling, she is the queen of this, okay? She is the queen of this. Past. She's probably at these damn conglomerate meetings.
But see, I like
where she's sitting at the table. She's the head. She's the head of rebooting, the art of rebooting, or the art of remaking, or the art of rebranding.
It's not even it's more of an offshoot of Harry Potter.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
She's exhausted. She is milking the cow, and she is the picture that shows up in the dictionary when you look up that phrase.
I feel like by the 3rd movie, I'm going to be exhausted. It's going to be like, okay.
I don't know how you're not already exhausted. I was exhausted before the damn Deathly Hallows came out.
Well, I'm not exhausted because in terms of Fantastic Beasts, I feel like it's an opportunity to touch on a part of the wizarding world. First of all, it's in America.
Not anymore. It's in London now, and it's going to be about Grindelwald. So
it's going
Dumbledore's
back to America.
in it. Is it? Because they're talking about Grindelwald and Dumbledore and his entire drama, and it's like we've already talked about this in the books.
I already claim it. It's going back to America.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm saying like
we saw Hogwarts. I'm tired of Hogwarts.
We're able to touch on like new things, different things. We're able to get new characters. You know, we're not saying like
it's still in the same universe.
It's not like we're following James Potter and Lily.
Okay, but
like we're not doing.
I would have loved it if they did like, 1 or 2 movies and not have it be connected to the over. Like
I didn't know there were 5.
The first Fantastic Beasts wasn't that connected to the overall plot of Harry Potter, so that was kind of fun. It was great. And then if they had made like another movie about like some other wizard that has nothing to do with Harry Potter, that would have been cool. But to make 5 sequels off the bat, off of just this one Newt Scamander, who. What? And now we're starting to talk about Dumbledore versus Grindelwald. So we know it's going to be a big ass. It's going to lead up to Voldemort and how he's going to become the next, great big villain. Like, we're going to see a lot of the same plot points with Grindelwald. We're going to see a lot of the same, like, just debates. And we're going to see Dumbledore being like, I can't fight him because whatever,
Yeah.
And J.K. Rowling,
we already see it in the trailer. He's like, I can't be the one to go against him. It has to be you, Newt.
And it's like,
and we're like,
why
why?
Newt? Who is Newt? Like,
it said, I am Confucian. It says in the books that you went against Grindelwald.
Exactly.
Like, what is this?
And like J.K. Rowling wants to come out and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, Dumbledore was gay. By the way, this character was half Jewish. By the way,
never
this character
said. I never said.
And it's like,
sit down.
Let those properties just be what they are, and like, let it sit. You know, just let it sit. Let Avatar sit. I don't want.
And to be honest,
did not want Netflix to remake it into live
Me
action.
neither.
I wanted
let
it to
it be.
just drop the animated series on there again.
Even after Korra came out, everybody's like, okay, now let's follow like the earthbending twin avatars.
Okay, I would rather that.
But I said no. I said I would rather Mike and Brian come up with something different.
Yeah, come up with a new TV show.
Give us like a cyberpunk
The Dragon
TV
Prince.
show or
The Dragon
something.
Prince.
The Dragon Prince was really good.
They're not them. It's
it's not them directly,
like
but I mean,
few people that are related.
Yeah, some of the few people from the studio moved over for Dragon Prince, so
yeah,
it's still in essence, but not directly from the people.
Yeah.
But that's cool and all either way. But I do see what you're saying.
Prince is a good example of original content.
Yeah, it is original content. It's original as fuck, and it's going off of old principles of like majory and stuff like that. Like it's not fantasy. It's not new, but the story is.
It's not groundbreaking, but it is.
Fantasy tropes, but the story is.
And now in terms of sequels, we got HBO already thinking about a Game of Thrones. What is it, like a prequel, sequel?
It's already done. It's approved.
And I'm like,
going.
What? What do we need even more Game of Thrones? Like, just end it at season 7, and that's done. We have Amazon talking about Lord of the Rings.
I want to be pressed about something else like I was pressed about Game of Thrones. I want to be pressed about something else like I was that.
Game of Thrones is draining. I can't sit through a whole nother shit.
But it's like, we want a new Game of Thrones, and they're like, okay, so we're just going to give you Game of Thrones again, but it's the prequel. Ooh, you're going to see more dragons maybe for CGI.
Let me tell you how much anybody didn't give a fuck. I can tell you just about much how much nobody gave a fuck. Make something new, like...
I'm excited for the Watchmen series that they have, but still, Watchmen was this one comic book, and then they came out with another series of comics that was like, what was it? It was before Watchmen.
It was before Watchmen. Then now we have Doomsday Clock, which is a current series going on right now.
I loved Watchmen when it was just that comic, but I'm not going to keep track with everything that's going on. Yeah. Imagine if V for Vendetta, which was a great, just single-off comic, single movie. It was great. Mm-hmm. Imagine if they come out with more comics and then they started a TV series and they started a whole thing.
Too much.
That's exhausting.
And it's still a good movie. I just saw it recently.
It's a great movie. And if
I haven't seen it yet. I have to watch it.
It's pretty good. I mean, I can't even be mad at him. I watched it this year. That was my first time watching it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
I remember when I came to y'all randomly, like on a Saturday, it was like, y'all, this movie bomb. Like, I was like, I'm mad I missed it. This is my type of shit too.
Yeah, and like they can adapt things to like great movies like Arrival and Annihilation. Those are adaptations of books.
Those are really.
They were different, and they were
Arrival.
Okay, we are not going there.
I'm sorry.
Annihilation.
I tried to hold it in.
Great movie.
He did it. I was gonna let it be.
Annihilation is a great movie. Y'all talking about you want original,
annihilate
you want crazy,
the
you
film,
want
annihilate the world, annihilate the camera. Turn it off.
We're not going to get into that discussion.
We're not going to get into discussion about Annihilation.
Josiah said it. I did it. I was gonna let it sit. I was gonna let it be. That was.
I had to catch myself. But anyway, there's, I guess, to kind of wrap it up, there's original content that's coming out that is great. It's
Baby
just,
Driver.
Thank you.
Baby Driver was such a good fucking fresh.
When they were thinking about even discussing a Baby Driver sequel, I said no.
Just leave it.
It's fine. It ended fine. Just stop. It's like the guy was in like the briefing room. He was like, "All right, so you guys want to talk about Baby Driver 2?" And everybody in the room was like, "No, not at the same time." Stop.
It's
Next project.
Yeah, like Kingsman was a great one-off movie.
They're doing
and then
that
Kingsman
2
with another was already dumb.
Stop it.
Kingsman 2 was dumb as hell.
There were some shit that made me laugh. I did like the fight scene still, but
they should have stopped it. Like,
I feel like for my closing thoughts, when it comes to reboots, remakes, sequels, and all that, I think it depends on the movie. Certain movies, sure, if you have ways to pursue a sequel and it's valid, then go for it. other movies, if there's a movie that came out like 30 years ago and you want to do a remake for it, for example, A Star is Born. I think the last version of A Star is Born came out in like 74 or 86. If you want to do something, make a remake of that, like the recent movie, then go for it. I think the recent A Star is Born was really good.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I think that was really good. It was a remake, and it's pretty much the same story, but they were able to put it in our context and like our timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Not our timeline. Our society, like current society.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And they're able to still tell like a fresh story using the backbone of a story that's been reworked like 3 different times before.
Yeah.
And in terms of reboots, like I was saying, if it's like 30 years old and you want to bring it back, but you want to do it in a way where it still feels fresh, then do it. Don't just do it for like money. Because depending on the studio you are, you're going to get money regardless. I mean, I think there was like a test of people who went to go see a movie. They reacted differently to a movie based on the studio logo that they saw before the movie even came out. I think it was like Thumbelina or Anastasia or something. If they saw like the Disney logo, they're like, oh, this is going to be great. You know, because Disney's like a safe bet for them. It's like any Disney movie that comes out, that's going to be a safe bet. You know? And I guess for people, it's like, don't always just look at a reboot and be like, man, I want to go see it or something like that. Just analyze it. It's like, do you really need to see this reboot? Or do you want to explore the movie theater and actually go see something that's original, but also something that isn't just
upgrade
a branded movie, you know?
You need to upgrade your life and watch Upgrade, a completely original, never before seen, never been done, and unafraid to reference or unreference.
I feel like that's going to be a thing. We're just going to try and figure out a way to work Upgrade
into every episode.
That movie was tight.
But those are my thoughts. Of course, I always champion original content, but I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with doing a reboot or a remake. I just don't want it to be the only form of entertainment that Hollywood is going to give us.
Yeah.
That's my thing. What do you guys think?
Basically the same thing. Stop with the remake. I want you to stop completely. Like, honestly, just stop. Because everything's so readily available. Like, I was reading a book this book called, what the fuck was it? Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's going to hit on some of you. Let me just stop right there. Anyway. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? It was a good book. I liked the book. And I went to go watch the movie. How easily I got to the movie. You know? It's not like these old movies now can't be dug up or watched.
Right.
Everything's on YouTube, able to be rented. You can find it on Amazon, eBay, whatever. People selling old collections of their DVDs, whatever. If this was back in the early 2000s, early 90s, no, that's not an option. Like, old movies are hard to dig up. So people were happy to see reboots and shit. But now, these old movies are available to me and I can watch them in my own right. Whether you have the eye for SD quality or not, it's not my problem.
Yeah.
But the old movies that they're remaking are available to the general public now. They're easily and readily available. Most of them.
You just have to find a way for them to revisit it.
Exactly.
Without needing a reboot to do that for them.
Exactly. I just need them to revisit a notepad. Bitch, pick up a paper and a pen. Start from scratch. Stop. You can go off the same theme. You can go off the same, genre. You can go off the same atmosphere. But come on, another new original story in the Gone Girl 2 type or Gone Girl type environment. Yeah, like a type of mystery or something. When's the last time I saw a good mystery?
I'm excited to see what else.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Viola Davis. I just want the value of original content to come back in games, in movies, in TV shows, in everything.
Yeah.
Because I have nothing to look forward to. Honestly, looking at this list, I'm like, I've seen all of these. I don't need to see them again. I really don't care. I can go watch the original Lilo and Stitch and get much enjoyment out of it. Yeah, probably more enjoyment than what they think I'm going to get from this reboot.
Ooh,
so,
Jesus.
And they're trying to sway us by putting Beyonce in The Lion King.
I don't give a fuck that, honestly, when they said that shit, I didn't give a fuck that Beyonce was in The Lion King. I didn't care. I didn't want to see it. I don't want a live action Lion King. Why? Why? Why?
Because the Jungle Book was good. Okay, that's the real reason.
Go off, sis. I guess, but Throw it away. We don't need it. Why don't you make another animal influence animation movie or something? A bird. Anything.
They already did. It's called Valiant. You haven't seen Valiant?
Oh, yeah, that was dumb as hell. Okay.
Trash it.
That was a deep Disney pull.
Was it even Disney?
Yeah, it was Disney.
Yikes.
Listen, Hollywood, if you're watching by some chance or whatever, unless you about to put a check in my account, just stop with the reboots, please. I just need new content.
Let me tell you something. If they did put a check in my account
to promote sequels and reboots, this
I'd be
episode
like,
would get
hello. I love the new Lilo and Stitch. Let me tell you about Lady and the Tramp.
I told my mom I'll never be like any of those original content movie lovers.
It's a little pop culture for the cast. I just can't.
What are your final thoughts?
Okay, my final thoughts. I think if you're gonna make a reboot or a remake of something, there needs to be a reason behind it other than just we want the current audience to reconnect to this. Because like Jamal said, you can access these things easily. All of the movies that Disney's remaking, they were successful on their own. So it's like, you're just banking on the same success. And
they're big, yeah.
I think a great example of a remake that was worth it was Judge Dredd. That
really
it kind of it was Dredd.
Oh, I thought you said Judge Dredd. I was like,
well, yeah, it's like Judge Dredd because he was he's like it's like a comic book. It was a reboot of the 80s original movie, and the 80s movie was kind of a cult classic, and then they remade it, and it kind of flopped in the theaters because nobody heard about it, and then they put it on Netflix, and it got like raving reviews. It's a really great movie, and it really reconnected to the source material, but it didn't just rehash the same old story and the same old plot as the original. And notice that they didn't make a sequel, mainly because it flopped, but also because like that director cut it off there. And like, I love supporting new original feature-length films like Ex Machina. That one was amazing. Was really oh, Jesus. Annihilation. I loved it. Okay. Arrival was also good, I suppose we can say. Wow.
You're going to disrespect Amy Adams in this house?
No, I love Amy Adams. Like, Sharp Objects, that's something from the author of Gone Girl that, like, yeah, they didn't make a Gone Girl TV show on HBO, but they did look at other source material that they can do and bank on off of that same success.
A Gone Girl TV show would have been interesting.
It would have. We already saw the movie.
If it was 8 episodes, not like some long form TV show.
The movie already covered a lot of it.
But I'm saying if we didn't get the movie, TV show would have been really interesting.
But
maybe.
Like,
I mean, it's the kidnapping whole aspect. It's one of them Lifetime movies. That's why I don't. Yeah. I can't see it in the TV format. I get irritated.
Yeah.
Because she'd be like kidnapped for like 3 episodes. I'm just like,
yeah. But anyway, yeah, I love originals. In terms of reboots and remakes, I really want there to be a better purpose than just an obvious cash grab. And it's a lazy cash grab at that, because the plots aren't being changed, the stories aren't being changed. I hear Mulan is changing a little bit.
Mulan is changing a lot.
A lot of it. They're adding witches and stuff. We'll see how that goes. But
oh my God.
If we even see it.
But honestly, I think that everybody should just take a closer look at all the movies that are coming out and really think, do I need to see another version of Alice in Wonderland, or should I check out this new movie that I've never heard of, but it looks like it got good reviews and it's kind of like an original
money
movie
to go see both.
I mean, if you got that money, you got that money, and go ahead. But and let's not just mindlessly consume all of these safe bet movies like Marvel and Disney, and now Disney owns Fox and Star Wars, and everything is all under that big Disney umbrella, that Mickey Mouse shaped.
Start owning food.
Jesus Christ,
I wish they would.
Let's keep
Mickey Mouse mimosa.
Oh my God,
that sounds good. I want some.
Go to Disney World.
Mickey Mouse mimosas. Yeah. That sounds good.
Fuck, are they gonna put in their orange juice and
mouse juice?
Ew. Okay, those are my closing thoughts. Support your local theaters and keep an open mind when it comes to movies. If you hadn't heard of the movie before, please just at least check out the plot description, because that's how we found out about Upgrade, and Upgrade was one of the biggest surprises of the year for us.
It was really good.
It was really good. Okay.
Try not to watch trailers either.
Oh, yeah.
Or read reviews.
Try to keep the trailer watching on the low because then you're just going to already see the whole entire movie in the trailer.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
Okay, so I think that was the episode. Is there anything you want to let the people know before we go?
No. Just try to follow me on Twitter. For real. Like, please.
Tip your waitress.
Tip your waiters. We're going to go get some food.
Yeah.
Just to add a little personal, like, what we do. I want you guys to, we're just going to go get some food. Probably some Panda Express. Which I want.
I'll probably go to Panda Express.
You're not hungry.
I'm good with Panda. I ate at, 2 in the afternoon. It is 6.
Yeah.
It is 7.
I want to end the episode on a food fact. Apparently, cabbage is 91% water.
Bye.
Okay.
Turn this damn podcast off.
We will see you guys in the next one.